Minister, many of us are familiar, and many of us have been members over the years of Scouting Ireland. And there's no doubt the majority of their leaders and volunteers do fantastic work in communities across the country. However, the revelations from last January how one woman's complaint of sexual assault allegations from 2009, when she was 18, has opened a new and insidious and a grotesque litany of sexual abuse over many decades in the Scouting movement, mostly when the children were on trips. And Scouting Ireland's handling of this initial allegation was, in the words of Ian Elliott, who is one of the experts in this area, deeply flawed. The initial allegation has been followed up by a full review of historical cases, and it has been found that there were 71 alleged abusers and 108 victims between the 1960s and 1980s alone, and that there are also incidents from a more recent period. And again, to remember the words of Ian Elliott, not to focus on the numbers, but to focus on the fact that each one of these are people, are families who have been affected. Ian Elliott confirmed all of this, and ministers upon to the Oireachtas Committee yesterday. He also said that the work is incomplete and that those numbers are likely to rise. Everybody in this House would agree that this is reprehensible, and that the sooner we can get the full facts out there, the absolute better. 1 in 4 who are experts in this area have described these figures as astonishing. There's a huge number of people affected who were much younger at the time of suffering the initial abuse, who may not have come forward with their story, who today are holding on to what happened to them and have held on to that for many years. Mr Elliott outlined how 14 of the alleged perpetrators had multiple victims, and he discovered that there was one serious perpetrator of which there was no awareness within Scouting Ireland that this person was a perpetrator, and therefore there was no file on him. There have been many enforced changes to Scouting Ireland since the initial inquiry, and we hope that the current government arrangements are robust enough to ensure that any further allegation of abuse is reported under the current legislation, and that those who make those reports are given the support that they need. Families and the children involved want this to allow them to have the security and, as much as possible, to give their voice a voice in this debate and to allow them to come forward. Minister, given the seriousness of this issue, are you satisfied about the process and how the allegations are being examined? And are you satisfied that known victims have access to full counselling and to any other support that they require? What processes are the government putting in place to allow people to come forward who may not have come forward, and to allow them to do so on a confidential basis? And in your capacity as Minister for Justice, has Minister Zappone contacted you or met you to ensure that there is Garda involvement at every level to assist and support these people? And will the government give consideration to the establishment of a specific helpline to allow people to come forward in confidence and to get the security and help that they need in this situation? Thank you, Minister. I welcome the assurance that none of the alleged abusers are still with Scouting Ireland. That is important. However, are you confident that Scouting Ireland have the capability and resources to manage this situation? I think it's really important that we get the information and get the facts out there as soon as is possible, and that this drip of information has to stop in order to build confidence within Scouting, but also within the agencies around it, in order to give confidence to those who haven't come forward to come forward and tell their story so that they can get justice. I think it's important that we look at the establishment of a helpline. Minister Zappone said that she was seeking to meet the board of Scouting Ireland. Has that meeting been arranged, and when will it be held? And can you confirm that the TUSLA are available to get involved in this situation and to give the backup that is necessary in order to ensure that the most important people in this, the victims, will be allowed to tell their story and allowed to access a path to justice, and that there will be no inordinate delays in them seeking that justice?